He's America's coolest conservative and the future king of talk radio. 107.9 FM WBT presents The TJ Ritchie Show.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Late, live, and local. And by late, I mean late starting, because I was rudely interrupted by a basketball show. So, you know, 107.9 WBT, Charlotte's FM News Talk. Whoa. Well, I am glad to be here. I am thankful to be here. And I know you are. I think we're probably down to 3 listeners tonight. I don't feel that the entire 11 listener family is here tonight, but maybe they'll catch up in a few minutes. Okay. So 704-570-1079. That is the phone number to call and to text. Text driven by Liberty Buick GMC. All right. So, you know, I got to talk about this, this Don Lemon, leading in with the protesters of a church service in Minneapolis. I know you've been hearing about it all day, but you haven't heard what I have to say about it. There is so much that is illustrative of the modern Democrat Party in this one incident. So a bunch of protesters, a bunch of communist insurrectionists busted into a church, a Baptist church in Minneapolis during the service, because the people are white supremacists, supposedly, and one of their church leaders is an ICE agent. How dare he? How dare he be a federal law enforcement officer? How dare he? So, these bunch of trashy, godless people bust up into the church like they are the good guys. Again, these are just uncivilized people, which a lot of the Democrat Party is today, uncivilized, because they're a bunch of Marxist revolutionaries. Communists. And I haven't seen an attractive one in the bunch. Of all of these protests, all this footage that they have of these protesters and everything going on in Minneapolis, I haven't seen one attractive person. And I always say that's probably why most liberals are so unhappy all the time, is because they're unattractive. Unattractive to ghoulish. You know, in the cigar world, they will rank cigars among, by the strength of the cigar. Like they'll say, this is a mild cigar, this is a medium cigar, this is a full-bodied cigar, whatever. So a lot of times you'll see mild to medium or medium to full. So it's, in the middle. Well, the Democrat Marxist protesters, insurrectionists, their attractive level is unattractive to ghoulishly unattractive. Those are the ones. So what do we know? First of all, I told you these are Marxists. I told you these are communists, because the first thing that communists want to do is tear down religion. They want the religion to be of the government. You should worship the government. And they're just trash. These people are. So they bust up into this church service. And I don't care if an ICE agent is the senior pastor of this church. You have no business busting up in there doing that. And I'm going to tell you something. I don't know about other churches or your church, but if that would have happened at my church, there wouldn't have been probably any turning the other cheek. There would have probably been some violence happening right there. I know I wouldn't just sit there in my church and just let them come in there and act like that. I'd have probably been brawling in the Lord's house, having to ask the Jesus to forgive me after that. I sure wouldn't have stood there and given Dandy Don Lemon the time of day. He want to interview the pastor there, and the pastor's talking to him and all that. Get out of here. You are not worth talking to, you piece of crap, attention whore. Don Lemon. Sassy Don Lemon. Just another example of a crazy white liberal woman is what Don Lemon is. Ugh. Just trying to make himself relevant as a podcaster. A washed up CNN anchor host who was terrible. Now he's out trying to make it in the world of podcasts, and he's getting in the gutter. Even more so than he did when he was on CNN. And you know what? I think, I don't know. I was about to say, I think Don Lemon's going to have a little bit of a surprise coming for him, but I don't know that he will. You know, I'm meaning with law enforcement. I know they say they're going to go and investigate and they do all this. If they don't end up throwing most of those people in jail, including Don Lemon, then Trump and his department are just full of false promises, full of big talk and can't back it up. Because they broke the same laws that they prosecuted those people with who prayed outside of abortion clinics. I'm telling you, these people are godless, soulless pieces of crap. And they need to be dealt with. Legally dealt with. But I'm just wondering when getting dealt with is going to mean something else. Because that's what they're pushing for. They're pushing for violence to break out and for the, the decent people in this country to start fighting back with force. And then they're going to cry victim. Don Lemon's already doing it. Dandy Don is already doing it. So I'll play you one of the clips that came out later this afternoon or this morning of Don Lemon talking to him on TMZ. And he's already playing the victim, and he thinks he's slick, but he's not. He's not slick. And I hope he is in for a rude awakening. I hope that what he's about to have fall down upon him is going to put those wrinkles back in his face that all that Botox has smoothed out. Like, he needs to start worrying. All right? So we'll get into all that coming up next. Hang on. .9 WBT, Charlotte's FM News Talk. It's the TJ Ritchie Show. I'm TJ Ritchie, the green-eyed patriot, America's coolest conservative. We are discussing, or I am discussing, and you are listening, I don't know, just the sheer theater of these godless communist, quote unquote, protesters who are a lot of them being paid to go out and cause trouble. I would consider them to be domestic terrorists is what I would consider them to be. But what do I know? What do I know? All right. So let's get to Dandy Don Lemon. Now, first of all, I don't think Dandy Don Lemon is, by any means a threat to the conservative way, or he's not a heavy hitter as far as, any weight coming from anything that he says. He's just an attention whore. and he's trying to make a name for himself as a podcaster. He wants to be, big name podcaster and edgy and all of that. And so he doesn't even have to pretend that he's not biased, not a stinking liberal. But he's a nobody. I mean, he really is. So here he is. He's talking about, what's going on. I think this is the part where he is actually in the church, where he's gone in there to commentate everything, as a journalist. And here he is inside the church. Listen.
The beginning of what's going to happen here. When you violate people's due process, when you pull people off the street and you start dragging them and hurting them and not abiding by the Constitution, when you start doing all of that, people get upset and angry. And if you remember what the Civil Rights Movement was about, the Civil Rights Movement was about these very kinds of protests. There's nothing in the Constitution that tells you what time you can protest. You can protest at any time. That's the whole point of it, is to disrupt, it's to make uncomfortable. And that's what they're doing. And that's what I believe when I say everyone has to be willing to sacrifice something. You have to make people uncomfortable in these times. If you see how uncomfortable people uncomfortably.
All right. So let me tell you this whole thing about make people uncomfortable. First of all, I agree with Don Lemon. Dandy Don, I agree with you on that. And I think that we need to make Dandy Don feel as uncomfortable as we possibly can. You hear that, ladies and gentlemen? Whatever we can do within the law, we need to make Don Lemon uncomfortable. He wants it. Oh, does Don want it? You want that, don't you, Donnie? You want to be uncomfortable, don't you? All right, well, let's do it. Let's figure out a way to make him very uncomfortable. You see, the difference in Don Lemon and these other people who are propagandists and all, Don Lemon is low IQ. I mean, low IQ. He is an idiot. He's a buffoon. He's a clown. And he doesn't know. He's too stupid to know what a buffoon he is. Let's not forget, there was a jet airliner that went missing years ago. And he said to his guest he had on the show, he goes, I know that there is no such thing as a black hole, and it didn't disappear into a black hole. But could it have disappeared into a black hole? I mean, we're not talking about a smart individual here. So you got that. And then the whole let's make people uncomfortable thing, that comes from Marxist propaganda and dealing usually with race. Eric Holder used to say that, the disgusting former Attorney General Eric Holder. And, he would say, nobody wants to talk about race. Nobody wants to talk about race. They used that for a long time, and it was like, what are you talking about? Everybody's talking about race. That's all you want to talk about. That's all you bring up is race, 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 race. We got to make people uncomfortable with these discussions. Make them uncomfortable. Now, that's code for break the law and harass people. That's what that means. And you're well within your right to do it because they are white supremacists. They are racists. So make them uncomfortable. That's where that comes from. It's a Marxist tactic, and it is also based in bigotry. Yep. So again, lesson is let's make Don Lemon uncomfortable. That's what he wants. Okay. Now, do we have time to do this? Yeah, we'll take time. Here it is, Don Lemon. I'll play the clip, and then I may have to comment on it after the break. But here he is, being interviewed by Harvey Levin and whatever the black guy's name is with the long braids. That's Harvey Levin's right-hand man on TMZ. Listen.
And there's a certain degree of entitlement. I think people who are, in the religious groups like that, it's not the type of Christianity that I practice, but I think that they're entitled, and that entitlement comes from a supremacy, a white.
What are they entitled to, you idiot? Their entitlement mentality for what? Because you don't think they're entitled to get together and have a church service? You piece of crap. Are you that stupid? Do you even know what you're saying? Or has the Botox gone into your brain? Ugh. Punk it. Okay.
And they think that this country was built for them, that it is a Christian country, when actually we left England because we wanted religious freedom. It's religious freedom.
Okay, another idiotic thing. It was built on Judeo-Christian beliefs and faith. And you may not like it, Don Lemon, but that's the truth. It is a Christian country. It was built as a Christian country, a Christian nation. Go read the documents. Get off, watching The View and riding around in your goofy car. Listen.
But only if you're a Christian and only if you're a white male, pretty much. And so, yeah, I absolutely 100%, but it's an intimidation tactic. And, I said, I don't understand how I've become the face of it when I was a journalist. I do understand that I'm the biggest.
You see, he's just saying, I was just a journalist. How did I become the face of this? Because I was just a journalist.
Name there. And I'm also, as I was on with my producers this morning, you and Kylie talk all the time. My producers were saying, I said, how did I become the face of this? And my producer said, Don, you're a gay black man in America.
And if you weren't, nobody would know who the hell you are. The only reason you have success in the broadcast world is because you are a black gay man. It's not your talent, Don. It's not your intelligence. It's not, your intellect. It's not that. Because you are talentless and you're not likable. The people that worked with you couldn't stand you. But that's the trick. You go out and you do something stupid and do something wrong, and then you go hide behind, I'm a black gay man in America. Oh, I'm so put upon. Oh, it's the white men in America. Even though I lay down next to one every night because I'm Don Lemon and I love white men in that capacity. But I'm going to go pretend like I don't like white men, because that's the thing to do, and that's going to curry favor with all of those Marxists on the left and get me some downloads, some views, some subscribers. What a joke. What a joke. But, they know where to do these things that they do. They would not. For example, they would not, if the preacher of a church in my hometown of Winfield, Louisiana, was the captain, the secretary, deputy, whatever, highest ranking ICE official you can get, they're not busting into a church in Winfield, Louisiana, a Baptist church, and trying that. No. If Don Lemon tried to interview somebody in a situation like that, busting into a church in my hometown, you know what he'd get? He'd get popped in his eye is what he would get. He'd get the hell beat out of him. But they know they go into these little churches and these places and these little liberal cities, and they're not going to have to deal with it. Now, I'm not condoning violence. I'm just telling you what would happen, and they know it. They know it. Try that in Gastonia. Come on. Come on, ICE protesters. We got plenty of you here in Charlotte. Go try that in Gastonia somewhere. See what happens. See if it's going to be the same result. Actually, I don't want you to do that. I'm just saying figuratively. If you did, it would be dealt with in a completely different way. I don't know that it would be violent. But they sure wouldn't stand there and be interviewed by Don Lemon after you just broke into the church with a bunch of screaming, godless, communist trash in tow. Oh, you're the face of this, Don. They're trying to pin it on you, one, because you're so well known, and the other reason is because you're a black man and a black gay man in America. That's the only reason they're coming after you. Oh. They're just jealous. Right. Okay, well, I was cruising the social medias today, and I saw a video, and it was a woman standing there making a video, and I thought, oh my God, this must be Eminem's great grandmother. Wow! But then it turned out to be Ellen DeGeneres, and I'll let you hear what she had to say. You know, it's brilliant too. She and Don Lemon are from the same place, by the way. I believe they're both from New Orleans. I know she is. I know he went to Tulane, I think. I'm not sure. Who cares? All right, all that's coming up next. Hang on. Well, it's because you can't criticize me because I'm a black gay man in America. Oh, I'm so put upon. Oh, it's the white men in America. Even though I lay down next to one every night because I'm Don Lemon and I love white men in that capacity. But I'm going to go pretend like I don't like white men, because that's the thing to do, and that's going to curry favor with all of those Marxists on the left and get me some downloads, some views, some subscribers. What a joke. What a joke. But, you know, they know where to do these things that they do. You know, they would not. For example, they would not, if the preacher of a church in my hometown of Winfield, Louisiana, was the captain, the secretary, deputy, whatever, highest ranking ICE official you can get, they're not busting into a church in Winfield, Louisiana, a Baptist church, and trying that. No. If Don Lemon tried to interview somebody in a situation like that, busting into a church in my hometown, you know what he'd get? He'd get popped in his eye is what he would get. He'd get the hell beat out of him. But they know they go into these little churches and these places and these little liberal cities, and they're not going to have to deal with it. Now, I'm not condoning violence. I'm just telling you what would happen, and they know it. They know it. Try that in Gastonia. Come on. Come on, ICE protesters. We got plenty of you here in Charlotte. Go try that in Gastonia somewhere. See what happens. See if it's going to be the same result. Actually, I don't want you to do that. I'm just saying figuratively. If you did, it would be dealt with in a completely different way. I don't know that it would be violent. But they sure wouldn't stand there and be interviewed by Don Lemon after you just broke into the church with a bunch of screaming, godless, communist trash in tow. Oh, you're the face of this, Don. They're trying to pin it on you, one, because you're so well known, and the other reason is because you're a black man and a black gay man in America. That's the only reason they're coming after you. Oh, they're just jealous. Right. Okay, well, I was cruising the social medias today, and I saw a video, and it was a woman standing there making a video, and I thought, oh my God, this must be Eminem's great grandmother. Wow. But then it turned out to be Ellen DeGeneres, and I'll let you hear what she had to say. You know, it's brilliant too. She and Don Lemon are from the same place, by the way. I believe they're both from New Orleans. I know she is. I know he went to Tulane, I think. I'm not sure. Who cares? All right, all that's coming up next. Hang on. .107.9 WBT, Charlotte's FM News Talk. TJ the Realist Ritchie for the TJ Ritchie Show. You know who I am? I'm the man. That's who I am. I'm the man. So everything right now across the country is about Minneapolis and all these other, communist-run cities with these communist foot soldiers out there protesting ICE and, breaking the law. This is when those low-life, trashy people just, come up out of the gutters and the sewer and everything. They're just disgusting. What are you going to do? So I go through the social medias every day to find interesting things to talk about with you. And as I said earlier, I was scrolling and I thought I had landed on a video of Eminem's great-grandmother. But it turns out it was Ellen DeGeneres. And she's not, retirement is not doing her well, because she doesn't seem, I mean, not just that she looks all broken down and everything. I mean, she just seemed like she was, and it may be because she's so worried about the country, you know. And you ever notice that when things aren't going the way that lunatic liberals and Marxists in the country want them to go, that's when they start talking about how they're praying. And, you know, Dandy Don Lemon earlier says, that's not the type of Christian I am. And I'm a Christian. Yeah, sure. Yeah, right. You're a Christian, Don. I'm sure you are. I'm sure you're a great one. I'm sure you're devout. We've heard stories about you, Don. We know what kind of stuff you're into, what you like, where you act. But Ellen's got prayers going up too. Listen.
Hey, everybody. I just wanted to say I am so sorry for what is happening in Minneapolis and our country, really, but specifically Minneapolis right now, because it's where I shot my last stand-up special.
Okay, let's make it about you, Ellen. You know what? I'm really concerned as well, because I've been to Minneapolis. I was a guest on a panel at a radio conference there one time. And so this really hurts me, seeing all this happen.
And everybody there couldn't have been more lovely. I shot it there because they say it's the happiest city in America. Oh. And I found that to be true. So my thoughts and my prayers are going out to everyone, and I'm proud of everyone who's...
Hold on. It just hit me. I thought liberals, lunatic, leftists, Marx, I thought they were the ones famous for saying, we're tired of hearing about your thoughts and prayers. Your thoughts and prayers aren't doing any good. We need gun control. Oh, but they got thoughts and prayers. Okay. All right.
Testing peacefully, and I am sorry for anyone who has been hurt just for protesting, for doing what you should be doing. Anyway, I just sending love.
Okay, so anyone hurt just for protesting, what you should be doing. Nobody's getting hurt just for protesting. God, these people. I can't stand a Hollywood celebrity most of the time. I'm telling you, that's something you should know about me. They make my blood boil most of the time. There aren't many of them that don't just make my stomach turn. And I've been around my share of famous people being, you know, in top 40 radio, like I was for so many years. Well, I still am. I forgot I got another job where I'm still on top 40 radio stations. But, you know, interviewing the musicians, and then the people have movies they're promoting, and I've done a lot of those type interviews, and most of them are not the kind of people you'd want to just hang around with, to say the least. They're not like us. So there she is. I don't know. Does she still live in England or wherever she moved? Or Ireland? Where did she move? Didn't she and Rosie both move somewhere? So she has to let it be known that she's praying for the protesters. You know, forget what the violence that the protesters are doling out on our federal law enforcement officers. Don't worry about them. These people are just so backwards, and you know, they've all been brainwashed either by the, leaders in the Democrat/Communist Party or by each other, by some supposed guru running around Hollywood. The ones that are the most outspoken idiots, like Barbara Streisand. There are a lot of them. One used to be Rob Reiner. He was one of the main ones that always had some crap going on. George Clooney. They're just so far out of touch, out of reality. I don't even know why. That's what really bothers me, is when people listen to them and put stock in what they say. I watched a movie over the weekend with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. It's a new movie they have on Netflix. And I have this thing where, all actors and all, almost every one of them is a raging liberal, right? So sometimes you have to, if you want to watch a TV show or a movie, you got to get past it. And if their acting is good enough, if I enjoy their acting enough, then I can get past and separate it. I don't care for this actor when he or she is not performing, but when he or she is performing, I like him. Ben Affleck is one of those that I can see past his idiocy and enjoy his movies because I like his acting that much. His buddy Matt Damon, no. I like Matt Damon in some things, and in other things, I just he's not as good as Ben Affleck in my book. George Clooney, no. I don't like George Clooney's work enough to get past what a lunatic liberal he is. You go, well, what about those Oceans movies? Never seen them. Never seen them. You know why? Because those types of movies, to me, if they got too many stars in them, they're not good. Too many big names, they're not good. And I just don't think George Clooney is a good enough actor to make me forget what a jerk he is in real life in order to watch a movie. But that's just me. That is just me. All right, so our man Scott Jennings on CNN has humiliated another crazy liberal, and I'm here for it. I am here for it. This is a big head, crazy, white liberal woman who's hysterical, and he doesn't do anything to calm her down. I mean, quite the opposite. You know how to make them even more hysterical? Hit them with facts. That's what you do. All right, so we'll play that coming up for you next. Hang on. It's the TJ Ritchie Show. I am TJ Ritchie. The Green-Eyed Patriot, on the air, everywhere, unapologetic, in your face, conservatism. Like nobody's business, like nobody's business. Thanks for listening. I really appreciate it. If anyone is listening. 704-570-1079 is the phone number. Okay, so Scott Jennings, from what I understand about Scott Jennings is that he, up until the time he got onto the CNN, was pretty moderate conservative, like middle right, they would say. Whereas I'm pretty much middle of the road. I don't like to choose sides. I'm just a moderate down the line. In case you haven't noticed. Ugh, I can't believe I said that. I can't believe I got that out. No, I'm what they call a rock-ribbed traditional conservative. All the way, baby. But anyway, he has really made a name for himself on CNN, just taking all these crazy people to task as a conservative. Now, I don't know who this big head hysterical woman is that he's counterpoint with on some CNN show. But I mean, she really does give him a huge softball to just knock right out of the park. All right, listen to this craziness.
You listen to Scott and you listen to all this rhetoric coming out of the Republican Party. These are the same people that defended opening fire hoses on protesters in the 60s on the Selma Bridge. I mean, these are people who consistently
I think those were Democrats, Julie. Just FYI. Those are Democrats. Those were Democrats in the 60s.
Scott, people like you
that was your party.
Exactly that kind of behavior.
But thank you for reminding everybody that Democrats were against civil rights.
How about this, Scott? Why don't you let me finish and stop interrupting? Because clearly, whenever anybody tries
you're the one that brought up Democrats. I agree with you. Democrats shouldn't have been against civil rights.
You're the person. Well, there you go. How about this, Scott? Why don't you continue talking, and I'll just sit here and listen to you.
All right, you know what, guys? I think we all have each other's X handles where we can continue this conversation.
Okay, let me ask you something. You think this is her first day at political commentary? That was one of the dumbest. I mean, seriously. I mean, I call them all idiots because I think to be as passionate about these and be so wrong about everything the way that they are on the left, it does take a certain lack of intellect as far as I'm concerned. You know, people talk about that that astrophysicist or whatever, you know, Tyson something, whatever his name is, about how brilliant he is, and I was like, well, he's the liberal, so he can't be that smart. But even leftist commentators would know not to step off into that pool to say that the Republicans were the ones who were cheering on turning fire hoses on peaceful black protesters in the Civil Rights March and turning the dogs on them and that whole thing. What? Even regular shady lying Democrats can't and won't go that far. What they'll say is, well, yeah, those were Democrats then, but those Democrats ended up changing to be Republicans, which is a damn lie to begin with. But at least they won't say those were the people, the Republicans were the ones cheering on the water cannons, fire hoses being turned on to the protesters of the Civil Rights March. They won't say that even. You probably couldn't even get James Clyburn to say that. And he is a big time race baiter. You couldn't get him to say that. What is she thinking? And then when he calls her on it, then she just gets hysterical and is like, well, you talk. You can't. Well, you won't let me talk. You won't let me talk. And he's like, you're the one that brought up the segregation protests and, you know, against segregation. I mean, against integration and all of that. Those were all Democrats. Slavery, those were Democrats. You brought it up. Wow. What was she thinking? I wonder if they'll even have her back. They're like, is this your first debate? Crazy woman. What is your deal? I love that. So Don Lemon is only being harassed because he's a gay black man in America. And this lady claiming that the people who are pro-ICE law enforcement are the same ones, the Republicans who were cheering on Bull Connor in Alabama, turning water cannons and German Shepherds on the civil rights marchers. Okay, gotcha. Okay. Does that mean they're really just stretching? Does that mean they don't have anything going? that they've got to just make up stuff in that. I know they lie about everything those protesters do and those politicians do and everything. But, I mean, they're really scraping the bottom of the barrel here. But then when you call them out, it's because you're hateful, because you're this, you're that, you're this, you're that. No, what I am is a person that deals in facts. And that makes me a racist, a homophobe, whatever else, right? Because that's all they have is identity politics, ladies and gentlemen. That's all they have. They have no merit to any of their arguments or any of their principles or any of their beliefs. They're sick. All right, God loves you and ain't nothing you can do about it. Nick Craig's coming up next. Bye.